Welcome to another edition of Straight Grown Talk. I want to take the time and wish everyone a happy 4th of July as we all celebrated it on yesterday. And I want to take a moment to also remind everybody that we still have to be mindful about COVID-19. And during this pandemic, there are things that we should remember that we still need to do. So we still need to wash our hands and be mindful of these wonderful masks that they're asking us to wear. Now, many of you need to do your research about those masks, because just the same as they're telling you to wear them to protect you, you have to also to understand that they were never designed or meant to be worn for long periods of time. So do your research on it and understand why we're also killing our immune system by wearing these masks for a long period of time, as well as we're also killing our respiratory system as well, because we were never meant to breathe our own air. So again, make sure you wash your hands, because right now there's a high amount of COVID that's running vastly through Georgia and all over the world right now. And please be safe and mindful. Keep 6 feet apart, and make sure that when you are around other people, you just be mindful. So let's get ready to get started with today's show. Now, many of you have seen the flyer that I posted on social media, and that flyer talked about educating you for the nonprofit economic development. So our special guest today, we have Mr. Gregory Ruffin, and he's in the building to educate us. Again, you know, I always love to educate our community and help them understand the do's and don'ts and the myths and the incorrect information that we've been getting. I mean, I'm also going to talk about a little bit about the government loans that are currently being issued. So business owners, people that are interested in having a nonprofit, sit back, relax, listen as Mr. Gregory Ruffin is in the building. Thank you, Mr. Ruffin, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure.
Yes,
so tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm Gregory Ruffin. I am the founder of Health Interest Rights and Needs Program.
Okay.
What that is an organization. We focus on entrepreneurship opportunity in the urban community.
Okay.
So we go to the community and we set up shop. We bring Invest Atlanta out, SCORE program, other business owner. We teach them about how to start a business at their age, whether they're young, older people. We teach them on how they can take their product and put it on the market and start making money.
Okay.
So it's all about entrepreneurship. Then out of that, I started NEEDS, which is Nonprofit Education Economic Development. That is NEEDS.
I like that name. So repeat that name one more time for our audience. Can hear you again?
Nonprofit Education Economic Development Services.
All right.
So that covers everything in the nonprofit sector. The only thing that we do not do is write grants. But, we have grant writers on hand that can help you. But the reason why we do not write grants, because I feel that grants are food stamps to nonprofits.
Okay.
It's free money. It does not teach you responsibility. It does not teach you accounting. It does not teach you how to budget. It does not teach you any type of thing like that. It just give it to you. And so what happened is, I think at one point we seen a line in Atlanta about 3 to 4 years ago. A lot of people in the nonprofit sector were going to jail because they were mishandling money.
Correct.
Not all those people were bad. They were just mishandling money, but they don't tell you that, you get the grant, but they also going to monitor you.
Okay.
They're going to also say this what you have to do with it.
So we're going to back up and talk about that just a tad, but I want you to
Gotcha.
continue telling us about what inspired you to start NEEDS.
What inspired me to start NEEDS was when I started my organization in 2010, people was always still calling me, like Mr. Ruffin, I was the go-to guy already. So like in 2018, I said, well, I want to put together a workshop. I did it in the public Atlanta library, and it was just the need of, I seen a lot of black people having a lot of questions the answer, the basic on how do you start a nonprofit. They was getting confused from a nonprofit to a 501c3, which is two different things.
Correct.
So that inspired me, just like, okay, I need to start NEEDS. So I had an organization. but needs take up most of my time now at this point because people call me every day. I have clients. I do free workshops, all of that different things.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Nonprofit is what?
Nonprofit is a business. It's the same thing as a for-profit. The only thing is you do not have shareholders. You do not have investors. You have board members, which is volunteers, but it still plays the same role because this is the thing. If you go start a nonprofit today, you're going to pay the same $100 that a for-profit pays.
Correct.
You're just a not-for-profit corporation, meaning that you're mission-driven. The money go towards your mission. It does not go towards the owner. It does not go towards the investor. It does not go towards the shareholder. So that's basically the difference from a nonprofit and for-profit.
Okay, so let's back up to what he was just speaking about. He stated that a nonprofit, basically, we would take the first steps like we would do at any other corporation and go through the Secretary of State and register the business that way. So once we've done that part, tell our audience about what's the next step into becoming a full-fledged nonprofit.
Okay, so you are a nonprofit if you register with the state, period. You get your 501c3. I don't like to say you're not a real nonprofit because you don't have a 501c3 because that's the IRS standard, because I know a lot of successful nonprofit that never go get the federal 501c3, but they have their local community support. They able to solicit donation locally, and they're able to do so. So that's those organizations are organizations like Neighborhood Watches and all of them. These are local organizations that they don't seek federal 501c3 and different things like that. Now the 501c3 only give you a tax deduction and tax exempt.
Okay.
That's it. So it's a tax code. So that's the same tax code. A lot of reason why Trump don't pay a lot of taxes. He have actually I think it's a program in Florida where they under his corporation, some of those are 501c3, some of those are nonprofit.
Oh, wow.
So that's another reason why a lot of people...
So that's where all those loopholes come in.
Exactly.
Yes,
So the 501c3 is not a nonprofit. And I clarify, it's a tax code that the rich, wealthy folks been using a long time, that the Caucasian been using a long time. They have nonprofit.
So explain that to our audience again.
The 501c3 is not a nonprofit. 501c3 is more of a tax code. It says that you're tax exempt and you're tax deductible. So let's say your mission is just white couches, like you want to promote white couches. That's simply a nonprofit. Your cause does not necessarily have to be taken up for the homeless. Your cause can literally be by chairs. It can be by anything. So that's why I tell people, if your passion is not the homeless, don't go start a nonprofit for homeless because you want to make a lot of money, because people can, it's a petty thing. People feel pitiful. It could be anything. It can be literally anything. A nonprofit. It does not have to be something cancer related. It don't have to be homeless. It don't have to be that. It can be literally anything about any topic.
Well, many times, often in the community, I know for a fact that a lot of businesses don't like to give to nonprofits unless they are a 501c3.
Right.
And they always love to mention that. Even are you an A or B and stuff like that. And you really have to research and find to become educated on what those terminologies are. A lot of times people are not going to tell you those things. But here today, we are going to break that down for you a little bit. I want to touch on a little bit about the money that the government is currently giving out to the nonprofit. And could you explain a little bit how that works for you guys?
So how that work is, so if any nonprofit business out there, if you have done the minimum of getting registered with your Secretary of State, you can you qualify for the business loan, just like Burger King, just like McDonald's, just like the for-profit. Because, like I said again, you're a business. That's all they see. Now, if you go even further and you get a 501c3, before you even sign up for the application, they're going to ask you, are you a 501c3 application? Are you a D? They ask you by A, B, they ask you their type. So when you're a 501c3 nonprofit, you can actually get the loan sometime, you do not have to go through the same ropes as a for-profit business.
Correct.
Because
and believe me, it is
yeah,
a lot
it's
of
a lot.
paperwork involved with some of the for-profit to even get approved for these loans. So many of you guys are aware that they are currently giving the PPP, which expired in June, and I was just told earlier today that it was extended.
It was extended, yes, ma'am. And then the
until
disaster
August.
loan.
Yes, until August. And then the EDIC is also available. There are quite a few to help our small businesses get back on track. So what I'm encouraging our community to do is to take the time and to educate yourself. Now, if you would like, I have all that information on my website as well. And you can also go to Mr. Ruffins too. I'm going to let him give you his information toward the end of the show. But if you're interested in knowing more information, you can visit Straight Grown Talk website at straightgt.com. It lists different stuff that is available for the community. Remember, there is a community page. Click on the community page. Go to it. Make yourself very familiar with it. I like talking about things that we should know in the community, because a lot of times we don't do things because of fear. And one of the biggest things we heard here, as he stated a little bit earlier, is that Atlanta was known for people just running out and getting these nonprofit, and then they were being in trouble, and the federal government stepped in, and they was being watched, and then come to find out they was mismanaging funds and all that stuff. So here, let's step back. Let's educate you on the 501c, the nonprofit, the do's, the don'ts. So we're going to continue with the next question of, so we've gotten the nonprofit started with the Secretary of State. The basic.
That's it.
And then again, as he said, when that comes back, you are a nonprofit. Do your homework when it comes to the laws of the federal government tax breaks when it comes to the 501c, C3, A and B, and all the other letters that they have going for it.
They actually have 29 different ones.
Oh, wow.
29,
So,
yeah.
yes, I've read a few, but not that many. I
It's
can tell you that now.
29 all
So,
together,
yes,
but
yes.
most people know the 501c3 because it's the most popular one, because it's the only one tax exempt and tax deductible.
Okay. What are because I heard about there are, when you're starting off, because the internal revenue, you have to pay a quite mid-sized fee.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's an A and a B to that. So you have a smaller one
Yes.
that allows you to get up to what amount?
$50,000 or less
And that is per
year annually.
Thank you.
That's cash flow though.
Okay.
Now your asset can be up to $250,000.
Okay.
Cash flow $50,000 or less. Assets can be up to $250,000.
Okay, so understand, go back and do your research on this. And then there's the bigger one where you have to pay a larger fee. And that's, I always tell people, you might not have the funds at that particular point in time. Start somewhere. Once you start, it makes you eligible for all the other grants and stuff that are out there. So start from somewhere, then move up. As we were talking about, once you move to the bigger one, what are the amount of assets and liabilities and stuff you're able to have?
For the big one or the small one?
The big one.
The big is no cap.
Correct.
So that's why people go but this is what I actually encourage people to get the smaller one.
Okay.
Because the reason why I do that, because most people that start a nonprofit, they usually have another job. You know what I mean? They don't usually just go full time because they have a certain perception that it's a nonprofit. You hear the word none, you think no money, no profit. So this is my side job, my side
Now, I want to
hustle.
correct people on that. You can make money in a nonprofit. Please understand, and I let Mr. Ruffin explain to you, how can you make money in a nonprofit?
You can make money in a nonprofit simply by having a job position in your nonprofit. So if you're the founder, I advise you you probably don't want to sit on your own board. You probably want to get a position as the executive director, the CEO, just like, okay, Salvation Army. You see how much they pay their CEO?
Correct.
So you'll have that same position that they have, but you're not on your own board.
Correct.
So it's no conflict of interest. So that's how you get paid as in a nonprofit, is having a position. You don't just get paid and collect a check because you own the company. That's a for-profit structure. Nonprofit, you need to have a position in your organization to get paid. But if you're 9 out of 10, if you're the founder, you're going to be doing all the work anyway.
Oh, yes.
You're going to be organizing the meeting. You're going to make sure the programs go right. So you're already acting as the CEO. just make it official and set that.
Now, how do I go about setting that structure up? Because a lot of people don't realize when you have a nonprofit, you have to have structure.
You do
And
bylaws.
what are the and that's what I was getting ready to get into. What are the do's and don'ts, or some of them, not all of them, because I know we don't have all that time, because I'm trying to hit so much of the snippets of what we're trying to do. But what are some of the do's and don'ts?
A structure, a structure wise.
Correct.
Okay. First thing would be, do not just go get family members to be on your board.
Say it again.
Do not just go get family members to be on your board, because the board member, this is the thing, board, once you get that 501c3, do know the board member have the same right as you. So if they decide to vote you out. So you can be the founder, but that don't mean that you're going to be active in your organization. So
That's
I tell
right.
people, make sure you pick people with integrity, as well as people that going to carry the load with you, because it's the thing. It is the board member responsibility as well to raise money as yours. It's not just the founders. So do know that when you pick the board, and 9 out of 10, you get your homegirl and your family, they gonna feel like they doing you a favor, because 9 out of 10, you asking them to, hey, for this paperwork's sake, let me just put you on there. So they're not gonna come to the table with, let me go raise $1,000 for here. Let me call, a higher office to get $10,000. They're not gonna do that, simply because 9 out of 10, they're doing you a favor. So
That's
that would be
true.
the number one, is starting out. Don't just have family members don't sit on your board because of the paperwork.
Okay. What are some of the do's? So you tell us one of the nones. What are the do's?
The do's are what you want to do. You want to make sure you have a conflict of interest of dealing with money. Because let's say that you're the founder, right? And you own a perfect example. Let's say this is your organization building. You own a cleaning service.
Okay.
And because you're the founder, it needs to be a conflict of interest, a conflict of interest clause in there saying, if we want to hire your company to come and do the cleaning for the building, that is done properly. Because you can be the founder, it can be looked as this. Let's say you the founder and you own a cleaning company. Also, she just hired herself, so she put money back in her pocket. So you want to make sure you always have a conflict of interest in your bylaws to say how you handle those procedures dealing with the board, if you want to hire somebody that's on a board, business or something like that.
Okay. What are some of the other things that we need to know further about nonprofit that tell our audience?
Nonprofit in general I'll tell you, is a business. You need to have a business plan. Also know, as a nonprofit, you can I'm not saying go get a business loan, but you can qualify for a business loan if you can show the bank that you make, I think, 25% of your money not dependent on donation. So you can get the same support as you see the for-profit business go to business loan. They'll get that. You can go get that if you can show a certain percentage of, say, I make this much money not dependent on donation. Because remember, you go get a nonprofit status because you're saying, I want the public support.
Correct.
To help me fund what I'm doing. That's the difference from a nonprofit versus a foundation.
Correct. What else would you like to share?
Another thing I definitely want to share is, with nonprofit organization, do know it's a public entity, meaning anybody can legally go on the IRS website with your EIN number and they can put up all your information. Do know it's not yours, it's the public. That means a 501c3 says that I want the public support, meaning that the public funded.
Okay, so many people didn't know that's what that means.
That's what that means.
And a lot of people get offended when they found out that certain people or other people have researched them,
right,
and found out more information.
I found out your whole budget, what you made last year. I found out how much the CEO got. Yes, because
but remember, it's all public information.
It's all public information. So that's why I be holding on to that. And I'm like, well, I can just call the IRS, and but I'm just saying that's the reality. And the IRS would literally send you a letter in the mail and give you the whole rundown on their whole organization. If it was anybody off the board, voted off, they know everything. Because remember, you go get a 501c3 because you're saying, I want the public support money.
Correct. And with that being said, of the public support monies, about once you get the structure in place and once you start trying to apply for the different grants, what are some of the do's and don'ts with the grants? And you take your time on this because I know this is a lot.
Yeah, because, and that most people think I'm anti-grants. I'm not anti-grant. I say grants should be a surplus. Go back to
It
this.
should not be all of your company.
It should not.
Right.
No.
It should be a certain percentage of your company, because I know a lot of people that go out and start these nonprofits, and literally their mind concept is, I'm going to open up a nonprofit. I'm going to
get a $1 million grant.
Right. Go get a $1 million grant, and I'm just going to blow up and be large. No, that's not. You need to also be able to make money, income without of those things. It's a plus. It's not. It was not meant for the entire company to run off the grant. It was to additional to what you're all able to do, like the fundraisers and going out and solicit to your local community and get them to back you and stuff like that. So it's just not, your company is not supposed to live just off the grants and loans. It needs some help from you going and doing some footwork, doing some stuff that we need to get out in the community and get the community to help us and put back into the community. So,
and that's true though, because it's so funny you said that, because now grants won't even, if large grants now, they would not give to people if they cannot show how would they survive if they lose that grant. Because what happened is, I give this example to my clients all the time. I said, what happens if you go out and get that $1 million grant this year and you accumulate this building and they pull that grant away from you? How you plan on paying for that building or your, and you think about it, you helping 500 families a week or a year. How irresponsible is that now? Because you lost a grant, you got to turn away thousands of families. That's irresponsible on your end, simply because you should have had a plan in place where now you got to turn around 1,000 families where you came into their life. You set up in their community, but now you're gone simply because you have not projected for that. So what I do, I give these people 8 ways on creating an income without depending on grants.
Okay, so let's hit those incomes.
So the first thing is, I tell them in-kind donation. In-kind donation is the easiest donation that a nonprofit organization should be able to get with a 501c3. I tell them, if you're a 501c organization and you don't know how to get in-kind donation, then you're doing something terribly wrong. You need to shut down. You don't need a 501c3.
Okay, so let me go. I want you to break that down in layman's terms so that community can understand. Because unfortunately, I know what you're talking about, but I need them to understand it as well.
So in-kind donations are any type of items in a store. If you go to Kroger, that means the items in the store. If you go to Target, that means the retail items on the shelves, anything like that. So the in-kind donations are items and goods that a certain particular store sell. So if before COVID-19 hit, I was planning approximately 15 events this year, between awards, giveaways, and different things like that. Last year, I did approximately about 15 last year. So all my events was funded through in-kind donation.
Okay.
So Walmart, Target, Kroger's, all of those, I did. Anybody that know my events, like, we're gonna have food there, and I'm gonna have giveaway items, as well as I'm gonna have, like, giveaway items such as laptops. Sometime I gave away TV, office desks, just all types of different things like that.
Good.
So those are in-kind donations. That means that I tapped into the in-kind donation. I didn't call Target and say I want a check necessarily. I said, okay, just give me the items, because I need items at my event. So I tell nonprofit, if you have an event, if whatever store have what you need, rather than trying to get money, which will be much harder, ask them for the items.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize when they're doing the 501cs that the company that you're asking for money from has a small window each year of when you can actually ask for money.
Yeah.
And once you miss that window, you can't ask to next year.
In-kind donation can be a year-round thing.
Right. So you can't get the actual physical money because you missed that window, but you can go to that corporate office and ask for what he's talking about, the incarnation about the merchandise. Instead, you can go to them and ask. Now, what's the number 2?
The number 2 is fundraising. I'm gonna go back, sponsorship. Okay. This is the thing. Sponsorship works like, we all know how sponsorship. You watch the Super Bowl, all those commercials. They pay top dollars to do their advertising because they know so many eyeballs going to be on that channel.
Correct.
So that's the same way with nonprofit. But I tell nonprofit, you have two ways of doing this. You're not just saying I'm gonna give you advertising space. I said this is my first rule. If you're a new nonprofit, you need at least one annual event so people know what you do, how you do it, what to look for. How you gonna fund that annual event? Sponsors. Who the sponsors? Small business. What's the number one thing small business need most of the time?
Tax
They
write-offs.
need tax write-off, but they also need advertising space.
Correct.
If I'm a new business, I need people to know that I exist. But guess what? Not only is I'm going to give you advertising space, I'm going to also give you a tax write-off. A for-profit can't do that for you.
That's true.
So
That's
I tell them, for you not to do an annual event and for you not to get sponsors to do your event, a for-profit can only say one thing: I'm gonna give you advertising space.
That's
Meaning
true.
I'm gonna either put your logo on my banner, my booklet, whatever. But you can turn around and say, "What? I give you a tax write-off
break,
as well."
yep.
Because you're a for-profit business, so you need that.
Yep.
Guess what? That's gonna help your business. So sponsorship. The next one is cash-based fundraising.
So we're on number 3.
Cash-based fundraising. But this is another thing. Salvation Army, they are what? $1 billion organization.
Oh, yes.
Not an M, but a B.
Okay.
But then we have to ask ourselves, why would a $1 billion organization want to do this around December?
To stock up for next year.
Right, but what I'm saying, they're a $1 billion organization already without the cash base. But I'm saying, why you think they're in front of Walmart?
To raise money.
Right,
because they have to.
but you see what type of fundraising it is. That's a cash-based fundraising.
Correct.
Because you got to remember, they making their money already on the thrift store. They're
Correct.
making their money in their centers and all that already. But you got to understand, why would a $1 billion organization want to do the fundamentals of cash-based fundraising? Because you got to remember, they don't have swipers out there.
Correct.
They keep it real simple. Think about it. They're doing cash-based, meaning if I'm doing a cash-based fundraising and if I tell you I raise a $40 and I raise $1 million, who to contest that?
No one.
Cash-based.
Cash is always king.
Thank you.
And
As
you can't,
well
and
as
it's not, and it's not traceable.
it's thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
not traceable. As well as this, you gotta check this out. Your cash don't actually count towards your money projection until you spend it.
Okay.
Versus if you have it in a bank and it's electronic, it's already accounted for.
Got you.
The next one is cash-based fundraising. I tell them, you got to remember, Walmart is the biggest retailer store in the world.
Yes.
So Salvation Army have trained our mind before we even get out the store. We already go in our pocket with our little
Yes.
chain and put it there.
Yes.
Now, we don't know, a lot of us don't know who Salvation Army really helped one-on-one. But they train you how they train you did in front of Walmart.
Advertise.
Thank you.
And they advertise on TV. They're in front of Walmart. They used to be in front of JCPenney's many
Right.
years ago.
But they're in front of
trained
Kroger's?
right. They're in front of Kroger's, but they trained us over the years to anticipate and expect they're going to be out there every year during the Christmas holidays, and this is what we're going to do. And you're going to have people in the community that's helping them. So they're actually doing a couple of things that they need to do for their nonprofit
Nonprofit,
because
exactly.
they're in the community.
Community.
They're helping the community by giving them jobs. They're also helping
free
the community.
advertisement by free
Right.
in front of Walmart. Like you said, they hitting so many nails
Right.
on it. Because like you said, they giving people jobs, check, make for them. So guess what? They providing jobs opportunity. They're advertising in front of the largest retailer store. So guess what? Checkmate. That as well as they're raising $1 million some in cash.
Right.
It's not including their stores. So if they report on their sheet they only made $40,000, who to contest a cash-based fundraiser?
That's right.
Cash-based fundraisers are the fundamentals of any successful nonprofit organization, and you want to always have them on hand because guess what? You get to move, you get to maneuver what you need to go, you get to pay for this on time, you get to do that. And it do not count against you until you spend it. Versus if you have electronically, all that stuff is already on record.
Right.
It counted for.
Electronic, it keep us in line now because that's what we're pretty much going toward anyway.
Thank you.
So what's the next one?
Cash-based fund. Next one is products and service. Every nonprofit organization do not need to have a product and a service. Meaning, if you're great at cooking, if you already have a product of selling cookies or whatever. Perfect
Girl
example.
Scouts.
Thrift store, Girl Scout. Boy Scout, what do they have? So if you look at every successful nonprofit, they have a product and service. So it's no reason why any nonprofit should just depend on donations. You need to have a product and a service, especially in today's climate. A product and a service. If you have let's say that you're a hair salon and you're a nonprofit organization, if you're smart, what you would do, you would combine both of them, because guess what? Your tax exempt. You don't have to worry about your taxes, as well as your tax write-off, as well as you can still charge people for them hair salon. Perfect example, barber schools. What do you think barber schools are? Barber schools are nonprofit. Schools are nonprofit. Hospitals are nonprofit. Universities are nonprofit. Well, guess what? They still charge you.
That's true. They charge you each and every day.
Every time. What you think your scholarship you're paying for? Not your scholarship, but your tuition.
Yes, yes.
Your hospital bill. But they ain't gonna tell you we're a nonprofit. They're gonna give that bill like that, because guess what? Their mission. So the next thing is product and service. You don't need to just depend on donation. Products and service. The next two is dues and fees. Every corporation, nonprofit need to have dues and fees in place. If you have 5 people sitting on your board and you the only one pay money, you need to fire everybody on your board.
Repeat that again, because a lot of people don't understand that. Your board should be an active participant of your company.
Financially as well.
Right. They don't need to just be, oh, I want to be on the board so they can make their resumes look good. No. They need to be actively participating in what your organization belief and mission statements about. So please understand, you need to have one.
Yep.
Also, like he said, they
dues
need to be
fees.
dues
They
and
need
fees.
to have their dues.
Yes.
A board member should have dues. If it's, I don't care if it's weekly, annually, yearly, however you want to do it. Board members supposed to pay dues. Members, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Every nonprofit organization, if you structure right, you should have your board, right? You got your board members, then you got your members under your board, under your board members. Members get a certain benefit, get something right. Perfect example, Sound Club. You have to be a member to shop there. You can't just go in there and shop, and you pay a membership for that. Same way with a nonprofit. If you have if you're a nonprofit and you guys own a center, you need to have a membership for your center, so people that can come there, that's part of your thing, they get to come there early, or they get certain discount. They get it 50% off. They pay a membership every month, as well as if someone want to join your organization. A fee should be attached to your application. No application should not just be, here you go, here you go. Every application should have a fee.
Now understand what he is saying. Like I say, everything we do, nothing in this world but the air we breathe is free. There's a cost for it. So you cannot nickel and dime your way through every and anything. Be prepared to pay. If you want something, if you want to be a part of something, don't be afraid to go get your purse or wallet and write a check, or write go get cash or whatever to donate to that company or organization. You said already when you agreed to be on the board that you want to be a part of it. Now don't be afraid to write a check behind it.
Yes, ma'am.
Just the same as you got the 100 black women, the 100 black men. Those people play heck dues every year.
Yes, they do.
And you'll be surprised that how much dues they have to pay. These fundraisers they do all throughout the year, those tickets they selling, some of those tickets are $100 a ticket.
Yes,
so trust and believe, because I've been on quite a few events they've had. So I can tell you, they're trying to raise money to keep going to do things they're trying to do. Nothing is free.
And you can't be ashamed as a nonprofit, because the money is for your mission. It's for your great mission. So it's not like you're just taking the money and you saying it's for me individual. No, the more money you have for your mission, the better you're able to serve, the better you're equipped to be able to expand what you're doing. And that's why I tell people nonprofit, when you get a surplus of money, use that money to expand what you're doing. If you get if you get $100,000 grant right now, you take all your grant money and feed the homeless, literally, something's
wrong.
Yeah, something wrong with you, and you should be closed down.
Yes,
it should be only 10%. Legally, I think it's only 10% legally has to go towards it, act directly to the cause. So if you go back to this, you should have a business plan. So if you get $100,000, it should be already part of the business plan, how that money broken down.
That's right. Repeat that again, because a lot of people don't understand. When just like this loan that they have available to us now, take advantage, full advantage of what they're offering us right now. I know a lot of people out here are scared because they've heard misguided information. Again, I am going to have a panel to address that coming up really, really soon. But again, understand, go research the facts of these different loans that they are offering. They are for you. But you gotta make sure you have your I's dotted, T's crossed, and the paperwork to support what you're saying.
You're doing, yeah.
At the end of the day, what the government wants to know is, okay, we agreed to give you this at 2.5, 2.9, 3.2% interest, whatever your interest rate is. Please understand, they want you to use the money because, again, you are helping the economy move.
Yes, ma'am.
And what that is also happening is helping the community. Again, they want you to do those things, but understand at the end of the year, Uncle Sam is going to be knocking on your door saying, hey, we want to see a ledger. We want to see your books. We want to see, what did you do with this money that you said you were supposed to do? And trust and believe. You cannot spend all this money on, just like you said earlier, you can't go buy a car, you can't go buy a building and all the money went toward it. You have to be able to understand, when you do those type of investments, you need to have a return that's going to basically try to replace that money back in there before the end of the year. Because again, at the end of the day, all the internal revenue wants to know is, what did you do with this money that we gave you? And they have guidelines, and they even making them stricter now since they went back and extended the time on what you can and cannot do. Educate yourself by reading. There are plenty of websites out here. Do not take word of mouth. And I tell people that all the time, because people live on fear. And they capitalize off that fear.
That's so true. Yes,
and unfortunately, they will stop you.
For the loan now, even on the disaster loan, they weren't even asking it. They ask you now, did you get somebody to do this for you? Are they charging you? Because people literally, I've seen people charging people $5,000 to get them $10,000 back.
Which is crazy.
Which is really crazy.
Right.
That don't even make almost sense. That's so people are really capitalizing off fear because people don't know. They feel like they don't know. But I say, okay, how you even tried to do the application yourself first?
And many, especially us, we don't want to take the time to sit down to read, no less, go on the computer, look for the stuff that we actually need. And then, Lord forbid, if they ask us all these questions that we should be knowing anyway as a business owner. Oh my God, it's like, what, really? You're really speaking foreign? No, you can't possibly be in business and don't know your particulars about your business. Meaning, you should know how much gross revenue your company made the year before. You should know immediately, how many employees do you have? I mean, because I've seen some people that actually, whoo, Lord, let's say they did not have exactly what they wanted. In fact, you remember a couple of weeks ago, there was a guy that was on the news about, he took his loan that he got from the government. He went and paid child support. He paid people
watches.
Right. He even cars, everything.
A $2.5 million loan.
Correct.
From the guy from girl from Love and Hip Hop.
Yes, and guess what? At the end of the day, the feds came knocking on his door because again, it gotta make sense.
Right.
You got it.
And do what you say with the loan. I don't understand.
Correct.
If you have a business, why don't you want to put that in your business so your business can get healthy? So even if you have to pay it back and you can't get forgiveness, you're making money. You're able to pay it back. So I don't understand. They're not telling you can't use it. They're telling you to use it for your business. And if it's your business, why don't you want to put it in your business?
Yeah, because again, some people have hidden agendas.
Right.
They see this money that they've never had, this lump sum, large amount. And their mindset
it's a great time
is different
for black business, I feel.
Correct.
But like you said, is that mentality that I feel like a lot of people taking on, which is not, because we're gonna come out of Corona eventually.
Correct.
But imagine if us as black businesses taking this time to not just research and to better brand ourselves and stuff like that, but we actually now got lump sum to actually invest in our business.
Correct.
So what is going to be the excuse now?
You're right. Because before it was like, oh, we can't get a small business loan because of this, and this.
Everybody got a small business loan.
We have a missing component that we're talking about today, which is a nonprofit. So if you got some of that money, can I go start a nonprofit? Of course. Can you build your nonprofit from what you have? Of course.
Of course, yeah.
We're not saying you can't spend any other money on anything else, but we're saying, come on now, be realistic. You cannot go out here and buy all these fancy cars that you never would have been able to afford in the first place. Right. We're telling you, be mindful. We're telling you, understand what you should be doing. And today's topic that we're talking about is the nonprofit side of it. I'm telling you, make your money work for you. Just don't have this money and you end up right back where we were before the COVID. This is a great opportunity.
I think what was the first loan? I forgot the name of that one. Then they gave you the PP loan. Now they give you the disaster loan. It just wouldn't be any excuse. And then the climate of Black Lives Matter, I'm not sure why their intention, but they are really changing a lot of things because of the racist climate in here. Meaning they changing the name of thing, they taking down monuments, they taking down statues. They're doing a lot of things to make black people, to make us feel comfortable, whether their intention is good or bad. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is they're giving us a lot of tools. It's going to be really back up to us. Are we going to, when all is over with, let's say you got 3 business loans. Don't tell me that when it's all over with, your account will be back at 0.
Yeah.
Or your business is going to be dissolved. And it's going to be, okay, it's time for you to pay us, where I dissolved the business. So what did you do with the money? I think that at this time, what we can really do as like small business, especially black small business, we can really invest into educating ourselves.
Correct.
Going to webinars, seminars, like attending those people that really know the science behind building businesses, whether it's a non-profit or for-profit. I think we really need to invest in stuff like that because
I agree.
I think long term we can be some great businesses financially in the $1 million, $1 billion statuses.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So you've given us the 8 steps. And what is the other things that we should know?
The other thing you should know with nonprofit organization is bylaws in nonprofit. I tell people, because like I said, with a nonprofit, you got to remember it's a public entity. Everybody on your board has the same power as you. So to protect yourself, you want to make sure you have some great, phenomenal bylaws, because this is what I give an example. Let's say that you're the founder, right? And you're the founder and you're serving as the president. So even though you're on your board, let's say they can possibly potentially vote you out, majority rule, right? But you can put in the bylaws, only a spouse or my child or my bloodline can take over. So even if they put you out, you can still dictate who taking your seat.
Correct.
So bylaws are important for organization, because bylaws can sometimes be the only thing to save you.
Correct.
It can be the thing to stop something. It can be the thing to prolong something. Just like you go to court, they prolong certain things. They wait, so they know if I wait it out, you're not going to be as anxious or as this. That anger going to be gone, or that excitement going to be gone. So bylaws is so important for a corporation, because the bylaws gonna tell you who get paid, how they get paid, who come in, how they come in, how long that person serving that seat, how does elections come along, all the different things like that. So bylaws are so important.
I have a question. So let's say we start the nonprofit today, and let's say I didn't understand bylaws, and I need to just put some basic bylaws in place.
Got you.
Okay. Is that good for nonprofit, or should I take the time and structure everything going in and let it be what it is?
I say take the time, because remember, let's say that you don't understand, but your board understand, and you officially, the board officially go with them bylaws.
Okay.
You can't just go back and do that anymore.
Yeah, because you have to get them devoted.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I say take that time. This is your baby. It's no rush. And this is the example I give this. If you go open up a hair salon today, I guarantee you one thing: you're gonna be in that hair salon every day.
Every day, yes.
Because in your mind, that profit gonna come to you to secure your lifestyle. So when a nonprofit, why it seem like people get crazy? They lose common sense. You lose business sense. No, if you open up a hair salon or a hair shop now, and you just new to it, you're going to make sure, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure people in there, or you're going to be in there driving it and making sure that it is making, producing money. But with a nonprofit, you'll treat it like a side chick or some side, well, I don't do it on the weekend. And you wonder why you got to work a job and you still got a nonprofit corporation. Because it's the thing. If you get a nonprofit today, what's going to be the end of your nonprofit name? INC or
Yep.
CR or corporation.
Yep.
That lets you know that you're still a corporation.
Yep. And you have to work as that entity as such.
As such. So you need to treat it. Every day you wake up, if you have a nonprofit, go to work for it. Make sure that it is creating a profit for its mission. Making sure that. And I tell people too, this is the fourth thing that this is the four personnel your organization needs. Board members, volunteers, officers, and then employees.
Repeat that one more time.
Board of directors, volunteers, officers, and employees. If you have employees before you got volunteers, you're doing something wrong. The point of being a nonprofit is getting free labor. So if you don't never use your nonprofit card, why you have a nonprofit? If everybody in your nonprofit you got to pay, what are you doing?
Yes.
That's the part of being a non-profit, is
true.
to getting volunteers. So I meet the corporation and say, okay, we never have money. Yeah, because you paying your sister and your family to help you. Because you're not expanding your reach. You're not having an open house where you can take volunteers in. So
let's talk about that. So what he's saying is, just like a company. The company, you actually can get free labor by you can actually go down to the labor board and start with their programs to get mothers off the system and back into the workforce. So you kind of educate them to get back into work, so you can use the free labor there just to educate you a little bit. But on a nonprofit side, you have to open your doors and make sure your mission is clear so that people will want to be a part of your organization. But let's say hypothetically that people don't know. You still have to put yourself out there to help them understand what your mission statement is, so they want to be a part of your mission to assist you.
That's true. That's true. Just like if go back to a for-profit bit, if you open up a chicken shack right today, you're gonna pass some flyers out there. You're gonna be doing everything you're doing. So with a nonprofit, why are you not doing the same?
Because a lot of people don't understand. And understand, that's the reason for this show today.
Right.
We want to educate you on how to open a nonprofit, what are the steps that you need to do, the guidance of when you have opened it, what are the do's and don'ts, and then take advantage of some of the loans and grants and stuff that the government is offering. But again, don't make that your sole purpose. You have so much to offer in yourself, and just like he has iterated 101 times, if you had a for-profit business, you will be out there knocking on those doors, asking family members, having different events. The same work, due diligent work that you have to do for yourself and your for-profit business is the same thing you have to do for your nonprofit business.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And that is like us and what I'm saying. It's you use that same thing, and I tell them, but this is the phenomenal magical part. For a nonprofit, 9 out of 10, you're doing it for free for the community.
Correct.
So you should be. It should be a much greater drive. The fact that I'm changing people's lives. You see what I'm saying? Versus I'm not just out here trying to make a profit. I'm not just out here just in business selling water to, make a profit for my lifestyle. No, my mission, when you give me this dollar is going to save somebody's life. This dollar is going to help put a girl through school. This dollar is going to get some kids out the street. That's how you have to be able to sell, and you have to deliver your vision and articulate what you're doing when you're talking to people. Do not lose the drive because it's a nonprofit. And that's what, the biggest thing, my message to people is all the time. Don't lose your drive because it's a nonprofit. You can still make a profit. You can still take care of yourself. You can still, put food on your table with your nonprofit if you structure it a certain way. But most important, you're changing people's lives, and you don't want to lose that.
That's good. That's good to know. I want to thank you for sharing some phenomenal information today. I do look forward to having you back on our show.
Yes, man. I look forward to being back.
I really want you to come back because, again, I would like to have a part 2 to this. Coming up, you have a event that's coming up very soon.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Can you share with our audience what it's about?
So I have a webinar coming up on, I do one at the end of each month now. This is a start and grow your nonprofit. So I teach you how to start it and how to grow it. I go over everything. It's a 2.5-hour class, and I literally go over every step with you on how to start a nonprofit, as well as adding stuff like a 501d, a 501c3, a 501 got killed at the Wendy.
Okay.
So me and a couple of fellas, we do a panel discussion on there. I'm the host, but I bring them in, and they different activists. Some of them, all of them have their own businesses, own land. They teach people how to grow food. So they already doing the active work as forward, educating their people about self-sufficiency, about doing for self. So I also do that like real heavy too, and that's on my Facebook page, which is Gregory Ruffin.
And you said your IG page again was?
IG is official Mr. Ruffin.
Okay. So I want to thank you again for stopping by Straight Grown Talk.
Thank you for
and
having
sharing
me.
your wealth of knowledge with our guests. And I look forward to seeing you again. I want to thank everybody that has tuned in to Straight Grown Talk today, as we will see you on the third Sunday of this month, again with some amazing new material that again is to help our community. Straight Grown Talk is a community-based show, and we are thirsting to get that information out to you guys so that you can be educated and not go on the myths of what everyone has been putting in your ears that might not be true. I want to thank you and appreciate everyone that has tuned in today. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you.